Chris Kyle, a Navy SEAL sniper, is positioned on a rooftop, looking down the path of a U.S. military convoy with his sniper rifle. He notices a man on a rooftop talking on his mobile phone, and he appears to be observing the convoy, which Kyle relays over his headset. Kyle is told that if the man reports troop movement, he has the authority to shoot him, but he is unsure. His Marine backup says that he was talking on the phone with his girlfriend. The man disappears from the rooftop, and a few moments later, a woman and a little kid appear at the same building's doorway and move toward the convoy. Kyle reports the woman and boy, noticing that the woman does not swing her arms while walking and looks to be carrying anything. Nobody in the convoy can see it and confirm. He looks through the scope as the woman takes something from her cloak and hands it to the youngster, and he recognizes it's a grenade. He is given the green light to shoot again, but his Marine guard reminds him that if he is wrong, he would be imprisoned for shooting a child. The scene then shifts to a young Chris hunting with his father, who shoots and kills a deer. His father praises him on his superb shooting, saying he is a gift. Chris cheerfully approaches the deer, putting his pistol to the ground as he rushes towards it. His father chastises him for treating his gun. Over numerous scenes from his childhood, we observe young Chris, his younger brother Jeff, and his parents attending church, where he steals a small, well-worn copy of the New Testament. There's also a moment where Jeff is beaten up by a much bigger kid on a playground. Chris rushes forward and takes the bully off, beating him up. In the following scene, Chris's father tells the boys at the family dinner table that the world is divided into three types of people: sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs. Sheep do not believe in evil, wolves are predators who do evil, and sheepdogs possess the aggression and bravery to guard the world from evil. The speech certainly has an impact on Chris. Years later, Chris is participating in rodeos with his younger brother alongside him. He returns home one night and discovers his girlfriend in bed with another man. He beats the man multiple times and kicks him out before turning around to kicking out his girlfriend. She complains that he abandons her every weekend to attend rodeos, believing himself to be a cowboy while being a failed farmer. As Chris and his brother watch television, they learn of a terrorist attack on the U.S. embassies in Tanzania and Kenya. Chris is outraged that U.S. people are being targeted and feels driven to do something to protect his country. He goes to a U.S. Navy office and talks to a recruiter. The recruiter suggests Kyle could be interested in the SEAL program and hands him a leaflet, but Kyle says he isn't much of a swimmer. The recruiter takes the leaflet from Kyle's hand and claims that it is not appropriate for most guys, but Kyle responds that he is not typical of men. Kyle goes through the rigorous training process, which includes being blasted with a powerful hose while exercising, lying down on the beach and allowing the cold surf to wash over him, and being verbally harassed by the officers who run training, mocking him for being too old to be a SEAL at the age of 30. He also receives sniper instruction, drawing on his hunting experience. The instructor urges them to shoot tiny, miss small. If they aim for a button on a man's shirt, they may miss by only 2 inches, but if they aim for the shirt as a whole, they may miss by 2 feet. His instructor also advises him to keep his non-scoping eye closed in order to better focus on the target. Kyle replies that he should keep both eyes open to see what else is out there. The instructor tells him that they are shooting at a target and that there is nothing else out there, then punishes him with 50 push-ups. Kyle challenges him by shooting a snake hidden in the grass on the shooting range. Meanwhile, Kyle meets a woman named Taya at a bar one night. She tells him that she would never marry a SEAL like her sister, who was continually betrayed and lied to. She also challenges him to drinking shots, showing her toughness, but she vomits outside the bar. Kyle is gentle with her, holding back her hair and taking care of her. He calls her repeatedly until she agrees to date him, and their relationship develops. She asks him at one point if she ever considers who will be on the receiving end of his pistol, and he replies that he simply wants to protect his nation. On their wedding day, he and his SEAL teammates learn that they will be deployed to Iraq, which they celebrate. The movie then turns back to the beginning, as Kyle sees the woman give the grenade to the small kid. As the young boy approaches the convoy with the grenade in his hand, Kyle fires the trigger and kills him. Kyle keeps watching on the woman as she begins crying and running toward the boy. The woman runs past the boy's body, grabs the grenade he dropped, and continues to run at the convoy. She is going to throw the grenade at it when Kyle shoots her. The explosive lands short of the convoy and explodes, leaving the men uninjured. Kyle arrives to the base camp, where another SEAL congratulates him on his first kill. Kyle doesn't appear to regret the killing, but he confesses that he didn't realize this was what it was like to defend his country. Kyle continues providing overwatch for Marine teams seeking for an Al-Qaeda leader named Zarqawi from door to door in an evacuated city. They are warned that any military-aged male who remains in the city poses a threat. Kyle successfully protects the troops, shooting multiple would-be attackers carrying firearms and explosives. Kyle is devoted to his job, even urinating in his station to avoid losing his watch. Kyle states that he had 6 kills after a certain watch, which is more than all of the other snipers combined during that shift. His fellow soldiers start calling him the legend. Additionally, Al-Qaeda has set a price on their heads. Kyle also hears about Mustafa, an Al-Qaeda sniper who earned a gold medal in shooting in the Olympics and is known for making practically impossible shots. Kyle speaks on the phone with his pregnant wife several times throughout the film, and she attempts to get him to be honest and tell her about his situation. He resists, just they talk and laugh together. She complains about having to assemble the crib by herself, and they both express how much they miss one another. She also informs Kyle that his younger brother has been deployed to Iraq. During one Overwatch post, Kyle observes a man walking down the street with a grenade launcher. Kyle kills the man's life. Kyle shoots the man. A young boy who is nearby playing is terrified and runs over. Kyle is concerned that the small child will attempt to take up the grenade launcher, forcing him to kill him. The young child struggles to get the grenade launcher on his shoulder, so Kyle prepares to shoot him. Kyle is clearly relieved when the boy finally gives up and runs away. Kyle at times complains about being assigned to Overwatch because he prefers to be on the ground with the troops, going door to door. He believes his training prepares him more than the Marines doing the job, and he can't defend them on Overwatch once they're inside a building. He ultimately abandons his Overwatch perch to join the Marines on the ground, who greet the legend. As they travel door to door, they come to a residence where the family refuses to evacuate. The man assures them that it is his house and he will not leave it. Kyle questions the man through an interpreter, showing him a picture of Zarqawi and asking if he recognizes him. The man claims that Zarqawi's second-in-command is a man known as the Butcher. He is willing to provide Kyle with information about the Butcher in exchange for $100,000. Kyle promises to assist him, and the man discloses the name. As the SEALs return to the man's home to deliver the money, Kyle calls Taya, who informs him that their child is a boy. Kyle is pleased when his truck is unexpectedly attacked, and he drops his phone while it is still connected. Taya is terrified when she hears shooting and screams, unsure what is going on. Kyle tries to take Mustafa out, but he is pinned down by gunfire. When the Butcher discovers that the man provided intelligence to the army, he murders the man's little son with a handheld power drill. He also shoots the man and issues a warning to everyone who cooperates with the U.S. military. The Butcher and Mustafa both escape without injury. More forces come, and Kyle and his men are able to leave safely. A few days later, the troops return, and Taya tears up as she reunites with Kyle. Kyle attempts to adjust to life back home. Taya discovers Kyle watching a video of U.S. soldiers being killed by a sniper and runs to turn it off when he notices her. She tells him she wants him to open up, but he does not want her to know about the atrocities they are witnessing in Iraq. The video depicts Mustafa's killings, which he records and sells. During a checkup at the obstetrician's office, the doctor asks him how he's doing, to which he responds that he's fine. She takes his blood pressure, which is 170/110, and both the doctor and Taya are extremely concerned about him, but Kyle dismisses their concerns and says he'll take care of it. As they drive away, Taya attempts to get Kyle to open up, but he just says he's fine. However, as he speaks, he becomes more frustrated, telling her that he does not understand why everyone is not talking about what is going on in Iraq and how people are simply going about their daily lives. Kyle redeploys for a second and third tour, continuing his search for the Butcher. The price on his head has been raised, and he jokes that his wife might pursue it herself. Kyle leads a squad of SEALs in their quest for the Butcher, including individuals he has known for a long time, and they appear to be a close-knit bunch. When one of his guys, Mark, begins to show regret about the conflict, Kyle reminds him that they are patriots serving their country and protecting their families. On one operation, the squad learns that the Butcher may be hiding out in a particular building. The squad breaks into a residence across the street from the building, but the guy and his family claim they have no knowledge of any terrorist activity. The SEALs observe the building from their home, knowing they will have difficulty getting in, when the man informs them that it is a holiday and he would like to invite them to be guests at his table. The SEALs join them for a lunch, eating and talking boisterously. When the man reaches across the table to his son, Kyle notices that his elbows are rubbed raw, which suggests that the man may not be as innocent as he claims. He gets up, pretending to go to the bathroom, and searches the apartment until he discovers a hidden compartment in the floor containing guns and weapons. He returns to the dining table, leads the man into the other room, and shows him what he discovered. He assures the man that he will assist the SEALs in entering the building. They force the man to knock on the door while holding a gun. The door opens to let the man in, as he is well known to the people inside, when a sniper pulls out the door opener. The man snatches the door opener's gun and attempts to fire the SEALs who take him out. The SEALs enter the building and search room after room for the butcher, who escapes through back passages. In a casual conversation with another SEAL, Biggles admits that he bought an engagement ring locally to save money. The others taunt him about the quality and suspected blood sources, but Biggles laughs it and promises to tell his fiancée it's from Zales. Mustafa shoots Biggles in the face during the combat, and they hurry him back to the base for surgery. Biggles begs Kyle to commit to deliver the engagement diamond he got for his love back home, no matter what. The troops quickly return, hungry for vengeance, and Mark is shot and presumed dead during the mission. Biggles survives and is flown to the United States for medical treatment. Between deployments, Kyle is still struggling to adjust to civilian life. Loud noises appear to startle him much. Taya gives birth to her second child, a daughter. Kyle visits the hospital and sees his daughter in the nursery, who begins to cry. The nurse is handling another child and does not quickly respond to Kyle's daughter, so he gets angry and screams at her. His wife bitterly notes that he misses his children's childhoods and that she must make memories for herself. He claims that by doing his job, he is safeguarding his family and country, but Taya believes he should protect them at home. While at an auto body shop, a young Marine approaches Kyle and tells him that Kyle saved his life years before. The Marine asks Kyle if he'd want to go to the VA and talk to veterans. He also talks to Kyle's son, telling him that his father is a hero who has allowed him to return home to his own daughter. Kyle is courteous, but he is uncomfortable with all of the young man's compliments. Kyle is still unable to connect with his family and home life following his third tour. He goes to meet Biggles in the hospital, who appears to be in excellent spirits. Biggles reveals that he is now engaged, getting a new ring from Zales, despite warning his fiancée that marrying him would make her life much more difficult. Kyle doesn't seem to understand how difficult it must be to marry a SEAL, stating she's lucky to be married to a patriot who battles for his country. Kyle is still compelled to return to the battle. He had an argument with his wife about it, and Taya demands to know whether he has a death wish. She says he's finished his duty and it's time for someone else to go. She also warns him that if he goes again, she and the kids would not be waiting for him when he returns. He attempts to smooth things over, but he deploys again. Kyle arrives in Iraq and sees his younger brother marching with his squad. Kyle cheerfully accepts Jeff, who is ready to be sent home and is much more battle-weary and conflicted. Jeff walks away, exhausted, and tells Kyle, "Fuck this country." Kyle attempts to call Taya, but it goes to voicemail. While speaking with another SEAL, Kyle learns that Biggles died during a recent stateside surgery. Kyle and his team are informed that engineers are attempting to build a wall around the city, but a sniper is shooting them down from almost 1,000 yards away, leading the team to suspect it is Mustafa. Despite an impending sandstorm, the team is dispatched to try to capture him and safeguard the men building the border wall. They head out into the city and take their places on a rooftop, aiming at the location they suspect Mustafa is shooting from. Mustafa, on the other hand, moves quickly and shoots from a different angle, killing another man constructing the wall and forcing the SEALs to change their strategy. Kyle believes he has located Mustafa via the scope, but the rest of the crew doesn't trust him because he is over 2,000 yards away. They don't believe he can see Mustafa, let alone shoot him at that distance. Also, the squad notices several insurgents wandering around the structure, and if Kyle fires, it would notify them to the SEALs' location, where they will be severely outnumbered. The commander calls a response team from the base, which will take some time to arrive. They warn Kyle not to take the shot, which could danger them all, until backup arrives. One of the SEALs encourages Kyle to take the shot if he believes he can make it. Kyle fires the shot, killing Mustafa, but the militants hear it and swarm the roof. The 4 SEALs try to save ammunition while taking out the terrorists pressing in on them. The backup is on its way but has yet to arrive, so the soldiers are on their own. Kyle contacts Taya in tears, telling her he's ready to return home. The men shoot their way down the roof as backup comes, along with the sandstorm. The men try to rush into the vehicle, but they have little to no visibility, making it difficult for them to see the truck, kill the rebels, and protect themselves. 3 of the SEALs rush into the truck bed, but Kyle falls behind after being shot. They slow down for him, and he barely makes it back inside the truck. Kyle goes back home. He is still trying to reconnect with his family. Taya notices him staring intently at the TV during a family barbecue, despite the fact that it is turned off. She attempts to get him to attend the party, and they watch the children play. A dog grabs a boy's collar and tugs at it. Kyle suddenly takes his belt off and snatches the dog, as if he is about to beat or strangle it, causing Taya to shout in terror. Kyle visits a doctor, who informs him that according to his military records, Kyle has been credited with 160 kills, more than anyone else in history. The doctor asks if he has any regrets about murdering those people, and Kyle responds that he does not, but rather regrets not saving more American soldiers. The doctor informs him that American forces could use his assistance at home. He brings Kyle to a support group for handicapped veterans, many of whom have lost limbs. The men tell their stories, and Kyle decides to take some of them to a shooting range and teach them how to use sniper rifles. After striking a target, one of the men says it's the first time he's felt like a man since being injured in battle. Kyle has now regained his composure, playing with his children and communicating with his wife. He trains his young son to hunt, explaining that it is serious business to end a heartbeat. He continues to work with veterans. Taya expresses her pride in him for reuniting with his family and finding himself. He informs her that a Marine's mother contacted him, asking if he might help her son, who has been struggling since his return. Kyle opens the door, and an anxious young man waits for him beside his truck, while Taya stares. The door closes, and the final credits show that the troubled young Marine killed Chris, Kyle and Kyle's friend.